Siblings of the golden child, when did your parents finally see the truth? My sister Clara got me disinherited with a single perfectly crafted lie. She told our parents I'd racked up $20,000 in gambling debt and that I'd begged her to keep it a secret. It was brilliant because it was just believable enough. I wasn't perfect. I was the creative one, the one who took risks, while she was the stable, responsible one. My parents, already worried about my freelance career, bought it completely. The family meeting was clinical. My father, his face a mask of disappointment, informed me that my portion of the inheritance would be placed in a trust, managed by Clara to protect me from myself. I was 32 years old. Clara sat beside him, dabbing a tear from her eye with a tissue. I didn't fight it. I didn't scream or cry. I just nodded because I knew arguing would only make me look more guilty, more unstable. That was her genius. She had built a narrative over 2 decades, brick by brick, lie by lie, and this was just the capstone. My parents weren't villains, they were just exhausted, and Clara offered them a simple story. But I knew her. I knew the tiny, triumphant flicker in her eyes she got when a plan came together. That night, I went back to my small apartment, the smell of turpentine and oil paint a familiar comfort, and I started my own plan. I knew Clara snooped, she always had. It was a compulsion, so I set a trap. I bought a cheap burner laptop and created a fake email account. I spent a week crafting a series of emails with a fictitious art collective in Berlin, culminating in a massive, life-changing commission. It was for a huge sum, enough to not only pay off my fake debt but set me up for life. I left the laptop on my desk, the final email open on the screen, and then I went to visit a friend for the weekend, making sure to mention to my mom that I'd be unreachable. I'd set up monitoring software on the laptop before I left. It would track every keystroke, every website visited. The moment of discovery wasn't dramatic, it was just a log file. At 2:17 a.m. on Saturday morning, my apartment's Wi-Fi network was activated. Clara had used her emergency key. The log showed she opened the email, then opened a new tab. She spent nearly an hour on a financial forum, searching for how to prove wire fraud and international asset seizure. She was trying to figure out how to frame me for faking the commission to hide my gambling winnings. That was the midpoint twist for me. She wasn't just trying to control my inheritance, she was actively trying to build a criminal case against me. It was then I decided to dig deeper. I paid for a background check on her, not a cheap internet one, but a real one from a private investigator. It cost me nearly $4,000, almost everything I had saved. The report came back a week later. It was worse than I imagined. Clara hadn't just lied. She'd been systematically siphoning money from our parents' retirement accounts for 5 years, small amounts at first, then larger. She'd been using my irresponsibility as the perfect cover story for the dwindling funds. She'd forged my signature on loan applications, using the money to fund a lavish lifestyle my parents knew nothing about. I printed everything. The laptop logs, the private investigator's report, her credit card statements filled with trips to spas and designer purchases, the forged documents. I put it all in a crisp manila envelope. I called another family meeting at the lawyer's office, the same one where I'd been disinherited. I told them I had a proposal for Clara's management of my trust. When we were all seated, the polished mahogany of the conference table felt cold under my sweating palms. I let Clara start. She smugly outlined her plan for my financial rehabilitation. Then I just slid the envelope across the table to my dad. "I think you should look at this first," I said. The room was silent as he opened it. I watched his face go from confused to pale to pure cold fury. My mother started crying silently, her hand over her mouth. Clara lunged for the papers, screaming that I had faked them, that I was a liar. My father held them up, his hand shaking. "Is this your signature, Clara? On the wire transfer to the Cayman Islands?" That was the reveal, the lightning strike. The reaction was chaos. Clara broke down, sobbing and confessing everything in a torrent of self-pity and blame. She blamed them for pressuring her. She blamed me for being the favorite. She blamed everyone but herself. My dad just stood up and walked out of the room without a word. My mom followed him. I was left alone with Clara and the lawyer. The next day, my dad called. His voice sounded 100 years old, asking me to come for dinner.